Episode 3 of the Party Town podcast is live. My name's Elijah Bond. I'm alongside Alex Kane. And Alex, we didn't really prepare for this, but we'll give it our best shot. We have a few topics we want to talk about that we might not get to talk about in the next coming weeks with preseason starting. There's been preseason tournaments. There's been a few roster blocks, and we just want to go over those. So we're going to get started. Earlier today, there was Five Nations U17 game featuring a few Blackhawks draft picks that Mike Brown on Twitter, he is involved with the program, or the organization rather, and he tweeted about a few of the players, including Cade Meyer and Caden Harvey. So we want to go over how they did today, along with, in my opinion, the biggest storyline in the last month and a half or so involving the Blackhawks, and that is Matthew Lansing and how he played in the Hlinka Gretzky Cup.
Yeah, so I mean, Cade Meyer, the one big highlight that Ryan Sykes with the hockeynews.com put out. Yeah, he playing penalty kill, 4-on-3. They're down 4-3, 4-man to 3-man power play. Holy crap! He blocks a shot from the point. It goes to the corner. He instantly hops back up, goes to the corner, and just absolutely levels forward in the corner. Prevents Switzerland from getting possession of the puck. The play, the highlight cuts off, so we don't really know how it went from there. But they shut out Switzerland today, so it obviously didn't result in a goal. It's just, it's the type of play that you want from a player. And he's shown it at 16 already. That he knows. His leg's probably pretty dang sore after taking that shot, but he has the knowledge enough to get up, go to the corner, and break up the play, and probably end up clearing the puck down to the other end to kill some time and get some fresh legs on the ice.
Yeah, and these are the type of highlights that we don't have access to until they come out, and I think coaches and scouts have access to these highlights, and I think that play right there is one of the main reasons he was drafted by Waterloo. His hustle and his wit and the determination to go after the puck after he took a heck of a hard shot. So, what about Caden Harvey? How'd he do?
Oh, where was he at? I just rolled past him. It sounds like he's got goals in back-to-back games, and he has an assist on a fellow player's goal. So it sounds like he maybe started out a little bit slow, but he's getting his feet under him for international play. And obviously a lot of these kids, it's their, first time overseas playing against kids from other countries, a little bit different style hockey. Obviously as much as hockey's hockey, there's a difference between the way Canadians play, Americans play, and then you go overseas and it's, a whole different ballgame over there. And that's why sometimes you see the Europeans, whether it be goalie or skater, come over and they just struggle because, I think if I remember from different interviews, European hockey's, a little bit more defensive minded and a little tighter. And they obviously play on the Olympic size sheet that Waterloo has. So there's more room out there to try to defend. So you gotta sit home and do your job and not take chances. First round phase 1 pick, Noah Davidson, also picked up a goal today. He just, he took the breakout pass from his own zone, went down to the other end, made a move, got the shot past the goalie, crashed into the net, took it off the post, but obviously the goal counted because it went in first.
Mm-hmm.
We'll try to get some of these highlights on the page or that article that we post that we posted. They'll have some highlights in there. Cade Myers wasn't in there. I might try to get that put into the. Oh no, it is in there. I didn't go far enough down. It'll be kind of tough to see because the camera is high up and just kind of pans back and forth. So you kind of gotta look closely, but it's better than having no hockey coverage in the summer and not knowing what possible future players are doing. So
Yeah. The biggest takeaway, like I said, month and a half. But I mean, in the off season was I think Matthew Lansing played really well in the Lincoln Gretzky Cup, and um, a lot of writers are saying that he was one of the Team USA's best players.
Yep. Yeah, I can see him being another case of what we got with Gavin Lindbergh, where he came in, played part of the season for a year just to get the experience. He comes back for the full year, and he just explodes. And obviously, he's doing this against the best players from other countries, so it's not like he's just playing, and they're perennial hockey powers, within reason of the Czech Republic, Slovakia, that always they just good fundamental hockey players that use more fundamentals than they might have skill to do what they do. But yeah, multiple people on Twitter, I think the one thing I shared, the guy said Matthew Lansing's a complete 200-foot center, does everything right. And if he's playing that way already, he'll probably slot into the second line center role behind Grady Deering. And that's the assumption that Grady Deering plays first line center. It fluctuates a lot in the USHL, so there's no set roles most of the time, which I think that's part of the reason why shit went downhill last year. Is they don't, they had good line combinations and they keep switching it up, and you can't build that chemistry. But it's part of it. You need everyone to be able to play with everybody. If someone goes down or is gone playing for Team USA before Christmas break, like we've had the last couple of years. So
Yeah, I think that's one of the ways the Blackhawks struggled last year was they had good players like John Mustard and along with others. Yet when they went away, and injuries happened, it seemed like the team didn't really know how to respond. And I think back to that road trip in March up to Madison and then following to Green Bay. The team was a little banged up and they didn't really play that well.
Yeah, and that team last year, I think there's a lot of times you could tell they let the first goal and you saw their shoulders drop, and they were going to have to battle back. But that's just part of it. They're teenagers, for the most part they're used to the ebb and flow of the game, but sometimes it gets on you. So that's the one thing, looking ahead, that's one of the points we need to hopefully improve on this year is letting us get the first goal most of the time, getting out there, being aggressive. And, it always works good for us. And if we, that's the one thing that I love about Matt Smaby's hockey teams is they're always in the opponent's face, making it hard on them. So if they keep that up, the sky is the limit.
Yeah, and I don't remember how well the team did in terms of an actual statistic, but they did really well when they gave up when they scored the first goal, and they did really, really poorly when they gave up the first goal.
Yeah, I think at one point there was probably a double-digit undefeated streak when we scored the first goal. So that's just important. You gotta get the momentum on your side.
Mm-hmm. Moving on, preseason expectations as well as the preseason schedule was released last week sometime. So the first thing, the Blackhawks don't go out to Sioux City this year for the Western Conference Showdown or whatever it's called, and I really want to know what went into that decision.
Yeah, you say we obviously aren't going to know specifically, but it might just come down to, Lincoln and Waterloo both don't go to that the preseason showcase in Sioux City, and whether it be scheduling simplicity of just making it easy, six teams, everyone plays a couple games, and I was going to say theoretically Waterloo and Lincoln are the furthest travel to get there, but I'm sure Fargo's probably a little bit further than Lincoln is, but it's whatever. See someone different, especially with the way the schedule works out. We only get to see Madison once at home in the regular season, so it'd be nice to see him in the preseason. It kind of sucks that second week and we don't have any home games, but the way it appears is we're playing almost like a 3-game round robin up there, where we play Green Bay, then Muskegon, and I think Green Bay and Muskegon play that Sunday, and Green Bay takes Saturday off or whatever it is. So it's just nice to get out there, see some different teams. And obviously in the past, we've always seemed to struggle with the Eastern Conference teams anyway, because they always seem to be, your higher scoring, fast-paced hockey, where the Western Conference is just, bang your head against each other and hit the glass and hope a puck goes in. But the Western Conference always seems to win out overall when it comes to, East versus West, just because, those skill teams like that, you get in their face, rough them up a little bit, their arms are going to get short on passes if you start hitting them. And, good case and example is the NHL Edmonton Oilers. They can, they do phenomenal during the regular season. All these skill highlights, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Zach Hyman. They get to the playoffs, they get hit a couple times, and they start to shrivel up and get short arms and can't play the hockey they like to play. And they get a lucky game where they get out and get their game going. They play good, but you can just tell the difference between the two games if they're getting hit hard or not. So it's just part of it.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, there is a big discrepancy when it comes to the higher scoring teams in the Western Conference, with like teams like Dubuque all the way down to Chicago. Yeah, that there's a bigger and better higher scoring in the Eastern Conference, and the Western Conference is more of a, like you said, more physical type of hockey. So it is nice to see those Eastern Conference teams, like Madison, Green Bay, Green Bay, and Muskegon. When you don't see those teams, like, at all. I mean, you see Cedar Rapids twice, but we see them 8 times a year, so we know how they play. And it seems like Cedar Rapids is one of the few teams that play the physical type of hockey.
Yeah, I personally think we need to. I mean, the Cowbell Cup's great and all, but I think we need to bump it down and play every team 4 times, and those 8 games extra 8 games against Cedar Rapids, Dubuque, and or I guess it'd be 12. Between them, spread them out amongst the rest of the Eastern Conference. We'd be able to play some Eastern Conference more, or even, I think last year we only played Lincoln. I guess we played them twice at home, twice away. But I think if they structured it the way college does, where, if Waterloo goes on the road this weekend, we go to Muskegon, play 2. And that's our road trip to Muskegon for the year. Then later in the year, Muskegon comes to Waterloo, plays 2. That's their trip to Waterloo for the weekend or for the year. But it's also a little harder with the USHL because of how many games they play and making these trips work. And it's just part of it. But that's what I'd like to see, to see the Eastern Conference teams more and get more. It's almost the same thing as during COVID when we were only playing Western Conference teams. It got boring watching, one of 7 other teams every weekend, and it just, and by that point, teams are pretty established of where they are in the standing, so it's almost always the same outcome every game, because like the past couple of years when you're playing Omaha, you're damn near guaranteed to win if you just play a good, solid hockey game and don't make mistakes.
Are we good? I think we're good.
I think you froze quick, or I froze or something.
Yeah, that happened a couple times in that last, half-minute segment. So, moving on, the Blackhawks host Cedar Rapids and they host Madison. And actually, that Friday game against Madison, the Iowa Wild are coming to town from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock as part of their Wild on Wheels program. So they will be in Young Arena, or at Young Arena, I should say, and they will have street hockey, food vendors, and a bunch of other stuff in Young Arena, or at Young Arena. And I feel like a big part of that was Tim Harwood and Ben Giselson. That their relationship. Ben called games for the Buccaneers, and so I think that had a big part of it. So I feel like that's a way to get more people out to that game against Madison.
Yeah, that makes sense because when I saw that as announced, I was like, 3 to 6. That's most people work till 5. That makes it really tough to get to that. How 6 o'clock for the puck drop in preseason sometimes can be, hard enough. Which I get people, some people think 7's a late start. Some people have a 9 to 5 job and makes it tough to get there in time. But it's whatever, I guess.
Anything else about the preseason that you want to touch on before we get to fan questions?
I don't think so. It's pretty straightforward, cut and dry. It'll just be interesting to see. I'm assuming we bring 3 goalies to the preseason. It'll be interesting to see what that rotation ends up like, and hopefully everyone gets their fair shot compared to last year. So,
the only fan question we had tonight was from Brady Miller, and he said favorite rivalry memory between the Blackhawks and the Rough Riders. I think we're gonna hold off on that question until Bryan is able to join us. So I think that will do it. Like I said, short episode. We didn't really prepare for it, but we really wanted to get something out for the viewers. So for Alex Kane, I'm Elijah Bond. Thank you for tuning in to episode 3 of the Party Town Podcast.
Have a good night.